Hello, welcome to RCC's Math Tape 080, Ordered Pairs and Functions. In this unit we will begin using graph paper, which you may purchase commercially. Graph paper, you may or may not be able to see this very well on your screen, but the graph paper has grids. An alternative is to use graph stamps that we have available in the math lab. As you work through the material in this unit, you'll need to be very careful to use a ruler in your drawings and to count accurately on your graph grid. As always, take your notes carefully and accurately, and as always, mark on your paper any place you don't understand so that you can get help from your lab instructor or your professor. Now let's begin. In this lesson we have 4 objectives. Our first is to graph ordered pairs of numbers. Graph ordered pairs of numbers. Second, find the coordinates of points on a graph. Find the coordinates of points on a graph. Third, determine solutions of equations in 2 variables. Determine solutions of equations in 2 variables. And last, evaluate a function for a given value. Let's begin by looking at our graph grid and examining the rectangular coordinate system. The rectangular coordinate system is so called because it's on a grid of little rectangles. They're actually squares. In our rectangular coordinate system, we'll have 2 number lines as our reference lines. One is horizontal, the other is vertical. These 2 number lines are called the horizontal axis and the vertical axis. The number lines intersect, cross each other at the point where 0 occurs on the horizontal number line and 0 occurs on the vertical number line. This point we call the origin. The origin is the point where the 2 number lines cross. The direction of sign on each of these is, for the horizontal, positives are to the right and negatives to the left. For the vertical, positives are up and negatives are down. To indicate, without having to put the plus and minus signs on these, to indicate the positive direction, we often put an arrow pointing in the positive direction. The 2 number lines divide the coordinate system into 4 parts. We number these. We call each part a quadrant. Quadrant 1 is the portion where the positive in the horizontal direction and the positive in the vertical direction border it. Quadrant 1. We use Roman numerals to indicate the quadrants, so quadrant 1. To the left of that we find quadrant 2. Quadrant 3 is below quadrant 2. And quadrant 4 is the remaining one in the lower right. In this rectangular coordinate system, we will identify points. Each point in the plane is identified by an ordered pair of numbers. An ordered pair of numbers. We write the 2 numbers side by side in a pair of parentheses separated by a comma. The first coordinate is known as the abscissa, the second the ordinate. These are rather old-fashioned words. They're a little bizarre, but abscissa is the first coordinate. The ordinate is the second coordinate. The abscissa tells us the horizontal distance, and the ordinate tells us the vertical distance. Usually, we will use the letters X and Y for our ordered pair, and using X and Y for the ordered pair, the abscissa will be the X value, the ordinate will be the Y value. However, we can use any pair of letters that makes sense for the problem. Let's graph some of these points, so let's look at some examples. Graph the ordered pair 3, 5. Now I'm going to put the graph grid on this page. Let's see if I can fix it so we can see the two of them together. Graph 3, 5. To graph 3, 5, the abscissa is 3. That's the horizontal distance. The ordinate, the vertical distance, is 5. We always begin at the origin, and we'll count 3 in the horizontal direction, 3 to the right, and 5 in the vertical. From there, 5 up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here's the ordered pair 3, 5. So the ordered pair 3, 5. Our next ordered pair is 2, negative 6. For 2, negative 6, starting the origin, we'll count 2 to the right and 6 down. I'll have to move my page so you can see that one. 2 to the right and 6 down. So 2 to the right and 6 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 to the right and 6 down. That gives us 2, negative 6. Next, let's graph 0, 0. That means that from the origin, we count 0 in the horizontal direction and 0 in the vertical direction, and of course that leaves us at the origin. 0, 0 for the origin. Next, let's graph negative 4, 0. That means we count 4 in the negative direction horizontally from the origin, 1, 2, 3, 4 in the negative direction, and then 0 vertically, so we stay on the horizontal axis. There's negative 4, 0. And last, negative 3, negative 4. Negative 3, negative 4. Starting the origin, we count 3 to the left, negative 3, and 4 down, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's the point, negative 3, negative 4. So here our 5 points are negative 4, 0, negative 3, negative 4, 0, 0, 2, negative 6, and 3, 5. If someone has already put the points on the graph, we should be able to figure out their coordinates. So let's practice on that.